Thank you, Mr Speaker, and it's a pleasure to take a call in this debate. And I think what we've seen from the last speaker is that as long as the other side want to bang on about there is no jobs or there is no plan, it shows the rest of the world exactly where the Labour Party is coming from. And it reminds me of a little quote that we've heard a number of times, and it says, Two men looked out from prison bars, one saw mud and one saw stars. Because what we've seen in that speech is a reflection of the aspiration that the Labour Party has for this country, which is absolutely zero. Absolutely zero. And when this government talks about the creation of 170,000 jobs, it knows it can create an environment in this country where those people who have the ideas and who have the wherewithal to be able to create work for those who need of work will do exactly that, because they have an environment created for them that is not punitive on aspiration, that is not punitive on good ideas, and it rewards success by the terms of trade that they can engage in, not only within New Zealand, but also around the world. Yesterday, I went to the Harbour Training Centre and I was speaking to young people there involved in trades training and alternative education, and those people wanting to gain qualifications they hadn't previously obtained through the education system so they could get a job. But not so they could just get any job, they could get a job that was going to take them somewhere. And I spoke to a young man there, and he had been asked to draw, he was 14 years old, asked to draw a picture of the things that meant something to him. And he drew a picture of an urupa, and he drew a picture of the Harbour Training Centre, and he drew a picture of a prison, and he drew a picture of a black power glove in front of Taranaki. And those were the things that were important to him, and his aspiration was pretty much zilch for where he was going to. His father was in prison, is going to be there for a long time. This young man had almost zero aspiration for where he was going to. And can any member of this House give any indication of what the message of that last speaker's speech gave to give any hope at all to that kid? Because there was nothing in it. Nothing in that speech that would give somebody with the life expectation of that young 14-year-old boy any hope that life under a government led by Phil Goff and the Labour Party would take them anywhere. Last Friday night, I met a man from Eltham. Eltham is a depressed area in terms of employment and in a number of different deciles. But this man, who 15 years ago was illiterate, he was running a motorcycle business, it went belly up, he had to get rid of everything, and he started working on trailer couplings in his garage. He marketed those trailer couplings, he and his wife taught him to read, and then he started selling these things, he started employing people, and over the last 10 years he's built up a business where he was employing 33 people. He got a contract to make window winders in Toyota cars with a laser cutting machine. He got another contract to make hinges for boot lids on Nissan and Holden vehicles. He got another contract making power poles for BHP in Australia. He is an inventor. He is an entrepreneur. He has a workshop that's got more robotic welders operating out of this business in Eltham than in any other single business in New Zealand of its size. He has recently invented some bars that clip onto a bulldozer and digger tracks that stop sideways movement. He's last month been to Caterpillar in America. They have ordered containers for next year. Next year he will sell $12 million worth of these gadgets to America, and he now employs 70 people in businesses running out of his engineering shop in the back of the premises in Eltham. He's been employing one person a week for the last 10 weeks. And he's doing that in an environment that was created by this government that has some aspiration and some goals of where it wants to take this country, and has set about preparing this country for that. And that is where those jobs will come by. Whenever this party has stood up on this side of the House and talked in that way, what have we heard from the other side? All we have ever heard is, where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? Not a single plan, not a single direction have they given the country as to where they will take it. I want to talk about an item from the budget, items in the budget around youth and youth skills. What we've seen is money set aside in this budget for the past few years, in previous budgets and in this budget, for a continuation of programs like the Youth Ops schemes, $5,000 subsidies to employers to hire low-skilled young people and give them real work and experience. We've seen the intervention of the Community Max programs and the Skills for Growth, a budget in 2011 to pay $5,000 to employers for employing and training young people in high-demand industries and setting them up for the future. We've seen the expansion of the limited service volunteer courses. These are 6-week residential programs run by the New Zealand Defence Forces for those people who are unemployed and can't find work. And recently I went to a graduation of 6 young people from Wanganui who attended an LSV course in Canterbury, and the changes in their lives were phenomenal. And a number of those young people had been sacked from the AFCO works in Wanganui for various reasons, and the CEO of AFCO was there and offered every one of them their job back, because he saw that, yes, they are all working at AFCO now, because it works. And it amazes me that just a few weeks ago I heard people on that side of the House complaining about the LSV course and the expansion of it, because they felt that it was a resignation of young people, that this was all they could hope for. The fact is that those LSV courses turn the lights on for young people. They teach them about tipping out of bed first thing in the morning, having some breakfast, going to work and doing something productive with their day. And that side of the House would rather they stayed at home and did nothing, because as long as they never have to look at themselves for the wherewithal to get on this life, they will vote Labour if they bother to vote at all, because they have no aspiration for where they're going. The Trades Academy's incentive that has started under the National Party is replacing back into high schools those old courses of woodwork and metalwork that recognise that not every child in our schools is going to make a living from staring at a computer screen. Some kids don't learn being folded into a desk and chairs and being talked at for 10 years of their life. And it's an absolute disaster that these young people can go to school for years and years and years, and under that government 20% of them can leave high school with no qualifications and unable to read and write and count functionally to operate in the modern world, and all we hear from that side is excuses why that's okay. Well, this government says that isn't okay. I'm also pleased to note in the budget $43 million set aside for assessments for young people in care, because young people in the care of the state in this country have a dumb deal, and that is a disaster. And thankfully we are going to assess those young people as to their health and education needs. We're going to make sure that the time that they spend in the care of the state actually looks after them and nurtures them in the way that they deserve to be. What we know is some tragic stats. What we know is that a young child growing up in a house where one of their parents went to jail has got 7 times more chance of going to jail than someone who didn't have a parent in jail. If both parents went to jail, that goes to 15 times. But if they're living in the care of the state, that is an atrocious 17 times, and you would think that with the intervention of the state that their chances of success would be even better. And the other statistic released in recent times is this, and that is half the young people who commit suicide in this country are in the care of the state. Thank God for John Key as Prime Minister of this country and his government, who is going to address those horrible statistics, and we will be better for them. We look forward to hearing what the plan of the Labour Party is if they ever come up for one, but they better hurry, because it's not going to be too long and the country is going to be distracted. They'll roll
Sorry to interrupt the honourable member. His time has expired.